asleep. Hey, let me see. Hey, whoever watching me. Y'all, when I go to eat, I do some cool ass shit. Look, this is what I'm about to do. I made the best lemonade, don't I? It should be bomb, don't it? It's like, see you laugh and say something. Talk to them. Is you gonna talk to the people? Hey, y'all. She said what? Hey, thank you. Huh, this nigga got a phone call. He messing up the radio.
I got some music.
What kind of music we playing?
Let me see. Give me that.
You gotta get your phone.
Okay.
You can record.
We gotta watch this.
Police are now identifying 2 women shot and killed overnight in Norfolk.
Now, the shooting happened at Hunter Square Apartments around midnight on Gulf Street.
In the dead of night, on what seemed like a normal evening in Norfolk, Virginia, a desperate call for help shattered the silence. What followed was a crime so brutal and baffling that it left an entire community shaken. In a small apartment parking lot, a mother and daughter were gunned down in cold blood. Their names were Alicia Hereford and Morgan Bazemore, a 52-year-old retired social worker, and her 23-year-old daughter, who was just beginning to find her place in the world. Both lives ended in a single harrowing moment. But as police pieced together what happened, the case took an even darker turn. A suspect emerged, a plea deal was made, and justice seemed to slip through the cracks. To this day, questions remain. Why were they murdered? What was the truth behind the $250,000 in cash found in their car? And why did the man accused of this horrific act serve only 8 years in prison instead of a lifetime? In this video, we unravel the details of this baffling case. From the violent crime scene to the shocking courtroom decisions and the secrets that may never come to light, join us as we explore one of Norfolk's most chilling true crime stories in history. Make sure to stay till the end, because this one will interest you a lot. Welcome to Mind Twist True Crime Stories, where all our stories are based on true crimes. Kindly support us by subscribing to this channel. Hit the notification bell icon so you won't miss any of our latest stories. Norfolk, Virginia serves as a backdrop to where this chilling crime took place. It is a historic coastal city known for its vibrant art scene, bustling waterfront, and as a major military hub, home to the U.S. Navy's Atlantic Fleet. It's a blend of rich cultural heritage with attractions like the Nauticus Maritime Museum and the Chrysler Museum of Art. The city offers a mix of urban and residential areas, with a strong focus on education and community life. However, Norfolk has faced challenges with rising gun violence. In recent years, the city has seen an increase in shootings, contributing to concerns about public safety. Despite efforts to combat this, gun violence remains a significant issue, with Norfolk regularly ranking among cities with higher than average crime rates in Virginia. Alicia Hereford was born on December 25, 1968, in Norfolk. At the time of the incident, she was retired after a dedicated career as a social worker. Alicia worked with the Portsmouth Department of Social Services and later as a Child Protective Services hotline specialist with the Virginia Department of Social Services, and she owned several properties in Virginia. At 52, she had built a reputation for compassion and reliability, someone her friends and family could always count on. Her daughter, Morgan Bazemore, just 23 years old, born in Norfolk, Virginia, she was following in her mother's footsteps in her own way. Morgan was described as hardworking, supportive, and full of life. Friends often said she had a way of making everyone feel like they belonged, always putting others before herself. She attended Matthew Fontaine Maury High School, where she was an active student, participating in gymnastics and other sports. Morgan graduated with the class of 2016. Throughout her life, she worked at DTLR, Walmart, and in the Customer Care Center at CVS Corporate. Known for her dedication, Morgan approached everything she did with passion and heart. Morgan was in an on and off relationship with Kenyatta Farrell Jones, a 29-year-old man who lived with his mother at Hunter Square Apartments on G Street. The couple was well known around town and often shared posts about each other online. Their relationship appeared to be just like any other ordinary couples, until tragedy struck on March 12, 2021. But what set Morgan and her mom apart wasn't just their individual traits. It was their bond. Mother and daughter, yes, but also inseparable best friends. Alicia and Morgan were a unit. They leaned on each other through life's challenges, always putting family first. Alicia and Morgan shared a deep bond, enjoying shopping and creating lasting memories together. And yet, on the night of March 12, 2021, their lives came to a violent and unthinkable end. It wasn't just the crime itself that stunned everyone who knew them. It was the questions that lingered. How did these two kind-hearted women, deeply loved and respected, end up as victims of such brutality? What led to their deaths in the cold, dark parking lot of the Hunter Square apartments? But there's more. Hidden beneath the tragedy were layers of mystery that no one could have predicted. When investigators searched Alicia's car that night, they found something shocking. $250,000 in cash tucked away in the trunk. Why was it there? And how does it connect to the events that unfolded that night? What would you do if you stumbled upon a discovery like that? Could it hold the key to solving the case? These are the questions that would haunt investigators, the family, and everyone watching this case unfold. But the answers? They're not what you'd expect. And just when it seemed like justice might prevail, a decision was made that left everyone stunned and a family furious. Stay with me. This story is far from over. It was just before midnight on March 12, 2021, when Morgan Bazemore's voice broke through the silence. She called her mother, Alicia Hereford, in a panic. Her words were frantic. She needed help. She told Alicia she was in danger. Her boyfriend, Kenyatta Jones, had become violent. Alicia didn't hesitate, and as a mother and protector, she did what anyone would do. She rushed to the Hunter Square apartments in Norfolk, Virginia, desperate to reach her daughter in time. But by the time Alicia arrived, something unthinkable had already begun to unfold. The scene was chaotic. Neighbors would later recount hearing gunshots, piercing and unmistakable. Moments later, two lifeless bodies were discovered in the dimly lit parking lot. Morgan Bazemore, just 23 years old, had been shot twice. One bullet struck her torso, and another fatal shot ended her life with a single hit to the head. Her mother, Alicia Hereford, suffered even greater brutality. She had been shot 3 times, once in the chest and twice in the back. The fatal precision suggested cold intent. When officers arrived, they made grim discoveries that painted a clearer picture of what had happened. Shell casings littered the ground near the bodies, telling a story of violence and rage. Dashcam footage later recovered showed people fleeing the area. Amid the chaos, a white car could be seen speeding away from the crime scene.
We have an update to a story we've been following all morning. Police are now identifying 2 women shot and killed overnight in Norfolk.
Now, the shooting happened at Hunter Square Apartments around midnight on Goff Street. Ann Sparacco has the details.
Here at the corner of Tidewater Drive and Goff Street in Norfolk, you'll see a sign calling for the end to gun violence. But right around the corner, just the opposite took place. Norfolk police say they responded to a shooting shortly after midnight this morning. When they arrived, they found 2 women shot at Hunter Square Apartments who both later died on the scene. The victims are 52-year-old Alicia Hereford and 23-year-old Morgan Bazemore. We spoke to a family member who said Alicia was her sister-in-law and Morgan was her niece. The family member didn't want to speak on camera, but described her niece Morgan as a fun, loving person who just celebrated her birthday. Detectives are not releasing information yet about a suspect, how many people were involved, or what exactly led up to the shooting. These deaths mark the 9th and 10th homicides in Norfolk since the beginning of January.
When the dust settled and the crime scene was processed, one name immediately stood out: Kenyatta Jones. He wasn't a stranger to Morgan Bazemore. He was her boyfriend, at least on and off. Their relationship was described as tumultuous, marked by arguments and tension that some say could boil over at any moment. As investigators pieced together the night's events, Jones quickly emerged as the primary suspect. Just days after the double homicide, he walked into a police station and turned himself in. But his surrender wasn't the end of the questions. It was just the beginning. A key piece of evidence emerged from a witness who had been in the parking lot that night. She testified that she and her daughter heard gunshots and saw individuals leaving the scene. This witness claimed to recognize Jones at the location, fleeing the scene that night, providing a crucial link between him and the crime. Still, the case wasn't as straightforward as it seemed. Investigators struggled with a critical piece of the puzzle: motive. Why would Jones go to such lengths? There was no immediate explanation, and the evidence, while compelling, wasn't entirely clear-cut. Even more challenging were the inconsistencies in witness statements. People near the scene recounted varying details, conflicting stories about what they saw, what they heard, and even who they believed was involved. Some witnesses were reluctant to cooperate at all, a silence that slowed the investigation. Jones was declared wanted, and the police marshals even set up a $5,000 reward for anyone who provides information leading to his arrest. A few days later, Jones turned himself in at his attorney's office. He was then arrested without incident. As investigators pressed forward, the answers they uncovered would send shockwaves through everyone connected to this case. The truth was about to come to light, but it wouldn't be what anyone expected. There's one discovery in this case that changed everything. When investigators searched Alicia Hereford's car, they found something that would raise more questions than answers. In the trunk, tucked away and hidden from view, $250,000 in cash. But that wasn't all. In the back seat, they found $2,100 in counterfeit bills, carefully stacked and ready to be used. Inside Morgan's purse, they also found a gun, but I guess she never had the chance or intention to use it. What was going on here? What was all that huge amount of money meant for? Or was it connected to something far more dangerous, something that could explain the tragic events leading up to her death? And why was Morgan carrying a gun in her purse? Theories about the cash began to swirl. Was Alicia involved in illegal activities? Was the money linked to a larger criminal operation? Or did the cash have no connection to the murders at all? The answers weren't easy to find, but I will tell you in a minute. Complicating matters further, a legal battle ensued over the rightful ownership of the money. A few months after the March 2021 shootings, Alicia's family filed a lawsuit to claim the cash as part of her estate. Alicia's husband filed a lawsuit claiming ownership of the money, and her only surviving son did the same, claiming ownership of the money as well. The family's fight over the money was more than just a legal dispute. It raised the stakes of the entire case. Apart from the dispute about the money, they were now fighting for two things: justice for both Alicia and Morgan, and getting the cash back. However, in June 2022, they withdrew the lawsuit, opting to wait until Kenyatta Jones's trial concluded. With the cash now in question, the investigation was headed down a new and unexpected path, one that would reveal even more shocking truths about the people involved. Now, about how the cash came about and what later happened to the cash. Morgan Bazemore, Alicia Hereford's only surviving child and also Morgan's twin brother, and Harvey Hereford, her husband, were named as co-administrators of her estate, in a lawsuit that claimed the cash found in Alicia's car was her life savings. So apparently, she owned an estate in Norfolk. The lawsuit argued that as estate administrators, it was their responsibility to pay the estate's debts and distribute the assets. The lawsuit criticized the city of Norfolk, its police department, and detectives for withholding information about the cash, including whether it was being held as evidence or for another purpose. The city, through spokesperson Chris, stated that the money was seized as evidence in the murder investigation and remains in the property and evidence unit until its rightful owner is determined. Chris added that neither Morgan Bazemore nor other parties, including Harvey Hereford, had provided proof of ownership, so the matter was unresolved. In June 2022, Alicia's family withdrew the lawsuit, with attorney Clay Macon informing the court that they planned to wait until Kenyatta Jones' criminal case concluded before taking further action. At that time, Morgan Bazemore became the sole plaintiff after Harvey Hereford resigned as co-administrator. However, Morgan Bazemore, now 25, was arrested in June on multiple charges. He was being held without bond in Western Tidewater Regional Jail. Charges include possessing drugs with the intent to sell, carrying concealed weapon, driving recklessly to avoid arrest, and obstruction of justice. As for the money, Norfolk Commonwealth's attorney Raman Fatehi confirmed there was no clear evidence linking the cash to illegal activities, meaning it couldn't be forfeited under Virginia law. In a courtroom that many hoped would bring justice, the verdict was a shock. Kenyatta Jones, the man responsible for the deaths of Alicia Hereford and her daughter Morgan Bazemore, was not facing the charges many expected. Originally charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder and firearm offenses, Jones was about to get a much lighter sentence than anyone anticipated. Instead of standing trial for murder, Jones took a plea deal. He pled guilty to 2 counts of voluntary manslaughter, far less severe than the original charges. The result? His sentence was reduced to just 8 years. The prosecution's reasoning? They had limited evidence and uncooperative witnesses, which made securing a conviction on the original charges nearly impossible. But was this really enough to justify such a light sentence?
The family is asking questions after a man accused in a double murder is offered a plea to much lesser charges. Police say Kenyatta Jones shot and killed Alicia Hereford and her daughter Morgan Bazemore back in March of 2021 on Gough Street in Norfolk. Prosecutors say Jones and Bazemore had an on and off again relationship. Now loved ones have learned that Jones has pleaded guilty to lesser charges. 10 on your side, Kiana Patterson joins us now with more on their story.
Yes, the family says that they are frustrated and just drained by this news. The max sentence in this plea agreement is 8 years. A life of service.
I've seen her out late working, making sure kids had homes, giving them her last.
Cut short on March 12, 2021. 52-year-old Alicia Hereford and her daughter, 23-year-old Morgan Bazemore, were together in their last moments.
Our girls are gone.
Bazemore was in an on and off relationship with Kenyatta Jones. Police say Jones shot and killed the 2 women in a parking lot on Gough Street. Officers found a gun in Bazemore's purse. Originally, Jones was charged with second-degree murder and gun charges, and witnesses linked him to the crime scene.
He shot my niece in the head. He shot Alicia 3 times.
Just days before the trial was scheduled to start, the family was told Jones pleaded guilty to a lesser charge of voluntary manslaughter.
We have been robbed.
Her family called 10 on your side to find out what happened to the gun charges.
It's just completely unacceptable.
A plea agreement states Jones will not serve more than 8 years, depending on what the judge decides.
My niece is worth more than 4 years. Alicia's way worth more than 4 years. It's a huge concern, but we just have to work on all that we can right now.
They say the news was devastating and believe the gun charges would have added more time behind bars.
Our people are outraged. They're sick. I've seen people break down and cry when they found out about it.
If it was a matter of witness cooperation, she says,
I do appreciate all that they done. Really do. Because they didn't have to do that much. But they carry it through, follow through with it.
The Commonwealth's attorney Ramin Fatehi couldn't go into much of the case details, but he does say he takes this case extremely serious, and this was an interest of the community. That's the reason that they made this deal. In response to the lack of gun charges, he says the charges that drive this case are the homicide charges and not the gun charges.
For Alicia and Morgan's family, this was nothing short of a betrayal. They had lost 2 loved ones in a brutal crime, and now the man responsible was walking away with just 8 years in prison. That is 4 years each for both victims. Their anger was evidence, their heartbreak even more intense. As the family struggled to comprehend the injustice of the plea deal, many began to wonder, was this truly the end of the road for Jones? Or was there more to this case than anyone realized? Is the justice system being biased? Do you think Kenyatta Jones deserved a harsher sentence? Or was the plea deal justified given the circumstances? Kindly share your thoughts in the comments below. Why would Kenyatta Jones kill the women he was supposed to love? The motive behind the brutal murders of Alicia Hereford and her daughter Morgan Bazemore remains shrouded in mystery. What drove him to such violence? Was it simply domestic abuse that escalated? Or was there something more, something that connected the brutal crime to the staggering $250,000 found in Alicia's car trunk? Investigators couldn't make the connection. Was the money just a coincidence? Or was it the key to understanding the true reason behind the murders? Then there's the matter of the unreliable witnesses. Social media had its grip on this case. How did posts and rumors on platforms like Facebook and Instagram influence the testimonies and the investigation? And what about the gun in Morgan's purse? Could it have been a factor in the tragic events that night? Would it have changed the course of the investigation, or did it complicate matters further? As the unanswered questions pile up, the mystery surrounding Alicia and Morgan's deaths only grows. Were there hidden motives? Was the full truth ever revealed? Or was there a larger conspiracy in play that no one wanted to face? Dear viewer, don't be shy. Kindly join the conversation. We would love to hear your thoughts and theories. With more questions than answers, the investigation into Alicia and Morgan's tragic deaths remains a case full of twists and turns. Alicia Hereford and Morgan Bazemore were more than just victims. They were beloved individuals whose brutal deaths left a void no one could fill. Their families' fight for justice continues as they struggle with the unanswered questions and a legal system they believe has failed them. One could only imagine how it feels to lose two family members at the same time. Despite the plea deal, despite the minimal sentence, Alicia and Morgan's family isn't backing down. They demand answers. They demand accountability. But even with all the evidence, they are left grappling with the frustration of an incomplete justice. The family's quest for justice seems endless, but can they ever find peace knowing that their loved one's killers could walk free in just a few years? In the wake of this tragedy, Alicia and Morgan were remembered with heartfelt tributes. Their stories spread awareness of the dangers of domestic violence. People from all walks of life paid their respects and joined the fight for those who can't speak for themselves. A vigil was held in their honor, with a large crowd holding pink and purple balloons. But the aftermath isn't just about grief. It's about change. Will their deaths spark a shift in how domestic violence is treated? Or will this tragedy be forgotten with time? We extend our deepest condolences and heartfelt prayers to the family and friends. May you continue to find comfort in the fond memories you shared with them. The case against Kenyatta Jones, the plea deal, the mysteries surrounding the $250,000 cash, was everything done to ensure that Alicia and Morgan got the justice they deserved? Or was this just another case of a broken system? Let me leave you with this. Do you think justice was truly served in this case? Or does this story highlight deeper flaws in the system? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear from you. If this story gripped you, don't stop here. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you're the first to know when we uncover more true crime mysteries. Your engagement helps us continue bringing these stories to light. Let's keep this conversation going.